Welcome to Newsmakers. I'm Mike Briggs. We come to you every week at this time and introduce you to somebody making the news. This time of year, we're talking to a lot of people running for offices because there's so many congressional offices, United States Senate, local offices up for election. We're going to try to bring you one or two people every week between now and the election day. We have a special guest today from Southern California, Dr. Myron Hall. Welcome, Dr. Hall. A conservative Republican from Southern California. Not only are you a conservative Republican, you went to the Naval Academy.
Yes, sir.
That's just on its own, that's astounding, incredible, highly honored. Then after that, you went to medical school, for goodness sake, at Temple University.
Yeah, little time in between with naval service.
Oh, yeah, of course. You
navigator and, boilers officer and officer in charge.
Did you get out on a ship?
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's what you do. I mean,
I was on a Knox-class frigate, which is a anti-submarine warfare ship during the Cold War, and we did anti-submarine operations and a lot of drug interdiction in the late 80s down off of Central America.
Now, what rank did you get up to?
03, lieutenant in the Navy.
Yeah,
it's like a captain in the Army or Marine Corps, Air Force.
Yeah, I'm always delighted to meet anybody that went in the service, but to be able to go to the Naval Academy, that's incredible.
It was a blessing.
Yeah, it was a blessing, sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, was it an easy task to get there? Tell us the whole story.
No, it wasn't easy. A lot of hard work. Do well in school, kids. Maintaining very high grades in high school, and was an athlete. Went to church. I was involved in a lot of extracurricular activities. I was in choir singing up. I like to sing. My mother was a vocalist.
And she was a minister.
And an artist, yes. And my mother, she went on to AME Church. She wanted to become a minister. But growing up, she was always the choir director. So we would go to church 3 or 4 times a week.
Sure.
2 or 3 of those times would be to watch her rehearse with her choirs.
The choir, yeah.
And then we were in choir, so we spent a lot of time in church growing up, which was good, kept us focused, and gave us faith, gave me faith, and my little sister as well.
That's nice. Now, I went to your website, and I recommend everybody go. It's Dr. Hall for Senate, all spelled out, Dr. Hall for Senate, and I found out a lot about you. You had some bumpy roads along the way.
Yeah, it was
as a kid, maybe high school years?
Wasn't always easy, but that's life, right?
That's right.
We have, even in leadership in our country, we have things we have to manage that don't go quite as planned. So we have to have a plan, then we have to adjust to the crises that develop, and then we get through them with faith, and sound reliance on God and foresight, and then alter the plan and adjust and continue with faith. And that's what we did.
And you're right, it is life. A lot of us have a bumpy road, but we don't end up in the Naval Academy, going to medical school, and running for the United States Senate. Now, your mom at one time, did you lose your home?
Yes. Well, about 39 years ago this year, I was going into my senior year in high school.
It's a tough
doing
time
very
anyway,
well.
for anybody.
It's an exciting time. I had done very well academically and was most athletic in my school. So I was looking forward to a number of options, hopefully going into college. In that summer, my mother called. We were staying with our grandparents for the summer, and my mom called and said she lost her home.
Oh, boy.
So, and we were going to have to live in a hotel room my first semester, my senior year in high school. So that's, you're thinking about everything flashes in front of you. Prom, how am I going to go to the prom from a hotel room?
Yeah.
I mean, little things like that. Not how am I going to study and get good grades, but,
Prom, but your final
social
season
stuff.
in sports.
Right, exactly.
Preparing for colleges, applications,
where am I going to
like
eat
that.
applications? So certainly that made it difficult to perform at the highest level on the college admissions test, which, I kind of struggled. And I had one opportunity to do well, and that was that fall. So I didn't do well, to say the least. But my mom, she was a strong person of faith, and she told me, just do well in school, keep your grades up, stay away from trouble, stay away from drugs, and you're going to have an opportunity. I have faith in that, and this country is going to give you an opportunity. And she fought to get me into the Naval Academy Preparatory School. I lost other opportunities. For example, I had letters from Notre Dame and other big schools. University of Tennessee was a big school that I wanted to go to, but I lost those opportunities because of that year and some of my, the home situation. So
Now,
if
by the
it
way,
weren't for the Navy,
I don't think we said where you were at this time. You were
yeah, I was in Tennessee.
In Tennessee, okay.
Yeah, as I was born in Ohio, but my mother and father divorced when I was 4. My mother remarried a military sergeant, and he was in the 101st Airborne Division. We traveled between 7 different states and Germany between the time that I was 4 and 12.
That's
And
your
we ended up
stepdad.
in Tennessee. Yeah, my stepfather.
You did some time in Germany.
Yes. Schaffenburg, Germany was one of the most memorable times of my life. I started playing sports then, traveled all around Germany with the football and basketball teams for that particular base. And as a military dependent overseas, and if you play sports, the base team is like a high school team, no matter what your age, because there's so few military dependents.
Right.
You have to travel to play the teams at other bases. So you're usually traveling 30, 40 miles. And so we went from Aschaffenburg to Frankfurt, Würzburg. I got to see a lot of Germany. People would be jealous of my
much you got to
traveling
see, yeah.
as a kid.
Now, you did a lot of extraordinary things. I've touched on some of them, but one of the most touching things I found, I did a lot of research on you, by the way. You took your mom's last name.
Yes. My mom, when she remarried my stepfather, he adopted us, but it took some time to change our names, and they ended up getting divorced before we could change our names officially.
Yeah.
And when I went to the Naval Academy after my second year, I told my mom she was divorced. She was single at that time, but her last name was my stepfather's name. Yeah. And I had called her and said, when I come home, I want you to talk to your attorney so I can change my name officially to your last name.
Yeah, what a great way to honor your mom.
I wanted to honor her, and I wanted to continue to build on a legacy for myself. And I was blessed to do that. I just wanted to look ahead, as I've always done, and not look back.
Right. Now, we talked a little bit before the interview started. You went to Temple University and obviously graduated. You're a doctor. With
Yes.
what specialty?
Podiatric medicine.
That
I'm a
means
foot and ankle
ankles?
surgeon.
Foot
Foot
and
and
ankle,
ankle, yes.
And then you opened in Southern California a practice?
Yes. After finishing my residency, I did my residency in San Diego with Scripps Mercy Hospital. It was a combination collaborative residency where the third year was at Kaiser in Sacramento.
I see. Oh.
So I got a chance to see both parts of the state, went to Northern California, finished there. And then the recruiter for Kaiser called and told me, well, we got a job for you. It's in Fontana. And I said, I heard Montana.
No way.
I don't want to go to Montana. I want to be in Southern California. And she said, no, where the raceway is. So I went out to the Inland Empire. If a lot of people don't know, it's east of Los Angeles, about 50 miles. And a great kind of bedroom community area, and served there. And then
Worked with Kaiser for a while. Yeah.
Got my work with Kaiser for 7 years and sharpened my skills as a surgeon, got board certified in rear foot surgery and forefoot surgery, reconstructive ankle surgery. And I got a blessing of an opportunity to get on staff at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center on the edge of Beverly Hills,
Yes.
which is where I am now. So I left Kaiser with that great opportunity ahead of me and moved to Los Angeles.
Yeah. Now, Dr. Hall has all these incredible stories. I want to get through all of them, but you actually took time to do house calls. I mean, thousands of them.
Yeah, when I started my private practice on the edge of Beverly Hills, it was very competitive. So the surgeries, it took some time to develop a surgery base and start ramping up enough surgeries to make a profit in the practice. Yeah. So I met a nurse one time, and she said, "Can you do house calls?" I said, "Why not? It's medicine." So my first house call was in Compton. And after 5 years, I had done like 50 house calls a week.
50 a week, wow.
And developed a list of about 4,000 house call patients from Orange County all the way up to Ventura County.
Well, and that's interesting. I'm just thinking people with foot and ankle injuries. I mean, it's hard to get around.
Yeah, it's debilitating. it's even hard to drive.
Yeah.
If you have a right foot injury, it's hard to push the gas pedal
Yes.
and push a brake, and actually it's dangerous if you have pain.
Yes.
If you get a shot of pain, you could take your foot off of the brake at a very
Bad time,
unfortunate time. Yeah.
And then here they had a doctor who
They're-
would come to them, a doctor who went to their house. That is
Yeah,
awesome.
exactly. And it was a great service. My mother always said, "Don't forget about your community." When I moved to Beverly Hills, and that was her first comment to me. And it gave me an opportunity to give back and advocate for those patients. That could not otherwise get to the hospital. I always said that if those patients couldn't get to Cedars-Sinai, which is one of the best hospitals in the world, I could bring the hospital to them.
Yeah, there you go.
So
Now, I want to talk about your philosophy, if you become a senator, when you become a senator, what you're going to do. But before we get there, we've got quite a mess to untangle here about this election. Here in Fresno, we're having Devin Nunes resigned his congressional seat, and we're having an election for that. And it's in a week or two. And whoever gets elected to that seat, they serve 7 or 8 months, and then that seat goes away forever, and those people are out of office. And it's very confusing here right now because all the congressional district lines change. We don't know who's running where. But yours is the most unusual circumstance I've heard of. Our senator resigned. Oh, she became vice president, Kamala Harris.
Yes, Kamala Harris.
And
yes.
so now they appointed somebody to fill the seat, I think Padilla.
Alex Padilla. Yes.
But they're also going to have a special election to fill the seat and an election for the seat. And they're going to do that all on the same day.
Yes, they're going to have a two-part election. There's one for the partial Senate term, which will be from November 8th to January 2nd. And then the full term election question will be for the term starting January 3rd. And that was a 6-year full term.
Now, somebody doing this correctly will be on the ballot 2 times.
Yes, and
Are you on
I'm one of the people doing it correctly.
Did some people miss it, not quite figure it out?
Yeah, I'm not sure what their reasoning was. Yeah. It costs a little more to be on both ballots, but I think if I want to be a good senator, if it were for one day to represent the people, great people of California and the rest of the country, I'll do it for one day.
Yeah. I guess it's possible that 2 different people are going to win.
Yes,
it's possible.
It's possible if the ballot is read improperly, or maybe the voters don't see a name on one of the lists. That could happen. Now, it'll be very interesting.
And here's the other confusing thing right now is that there's no more Republican primary and Democrat primary.
Top 2 vote getters, any party.
So if one person gets 99% of the vote and the number 2 gets 1%, they still go to a runoff?
I think so. I'm not sure the percentages, if it's that if it's that imbalance.
I think it is. I think that is how it's going to work. So so your goal right now has to be, you can't win it in June. Your goal is to be on the ballot.
My goal is to get to the general election, be the top 2. So I need your votes out there.
Right. And I tell you, and I told you this earlier today, I ask people all the time, and this is what I do, just for fun, is, hey, who are our 2 U.S. senators? And nobody comes up with the guy that you're running against. And I guess he's going to be on the ballot, too.
Yes, Senator Alex Padilla is the incumbent.
He was smart enough to get on both ballots.
Yes.
And there could be, so it could be 2 Democrats in November, or a Republican and Democrat?
And 2 independents.
Okay.
Any combination.
It could be any combination out there. Well, tell us, I ask a million questions. Thank goodness we're not yet out of time, but tell us your plan. How are you going to get elected? And once elected, what are you going to do?
My plan is to visit as many areas of the state that I can. Hopefully, our goal is to visit every county. Okay. And talk to the people of this great state, beautiful state, and find out what it is that they need. My plan is to bring back sound, consistent, strong leadership with character and integrity, to develop plans that will be for the people and be about the business of the people. And if those plans don't seem to be working right, have the foresight to adjust and let the people know honestly when those plans aren't working. I think the people have lost faith and hope in our leadership, and as a result, in our country and the flag. And I want to be a part of bringing that back.
Very good. Very good. Now, How about the party structure? Are they getting behind you at all, or is there any help coming there?
Well, as I meet more Republicans as I go around the state, I was just in Tulare a couple of weeks ago and met some great congressional candidates, and their campaigns embrace me as a fellow Republican. I've met some Democrats who are just they're uncertain about the current times and the way things have been going. So they're very interested and open to voting for whoever the best candidate is, and that's encouraging to me. And I know the recent reports have said there are a lot of independents that are unhappy about the economy. They're unhappy about gas prices. They're unhappy about crime. They're unhappy in this state about the unsecured border, and as a result, the high levels of fentanyl deaths that we've had, and fentanyl crossing our border. So there are things we can work on, and I think we can have the voters embrace across the board.
And so you're appealing to everybody. You're a common sense guy who's
I say, Mike, this is like we're all at a terminal, and we're waiting on a flight. There's one flight manifest. We're all on it. Yep. There are two pilots that are going to walk down to the gate before any of us get on, right? Mm-hmm. As they always do. They unlock the gate with security and let those two pilots go in and set up the cockpit. We don't know which pilot is going to fly that plane, but we hope the one that does flies it safely so that we all get to our destination in one piece and together as a unit. So if I'm blessed to be the person that the voters vote into this Senate seat, I'm going to fly this plane as best I can for everyone, and I want everyone to know that. And that's how I talk to the voters, potential voters out there.
Now, a majority of our viewers are from, Merced, Modesto, all the way down to Bakersfield, Central Valley. Really a lot of ag-based economy here. We have a high unemployment rate. We have some of the poorest people in the state here. Any special message for the Valley?
The Valley is a very abundantly full and resource-based area. I just passed Selma, the raisin capital of the world. I passed all of the almond trees that I see, and I used to do, before the pandemic, I would do an annual road trip from Los Angeles to Sacramento to enjoy the state fair. One of my favorite things is the state fair, and I would see all the vast resources we have here in the Central Valley. And I would encourage the people that live there that there's something looming, especially that's been illuminated with the war. Russia and Ukraine make up 30% of the world's exports of grain, which is a staple for food. We're on the precipice of a food shortage because of the war. And throughout in areas like the Central Valley, that's a perfect area to rebuild and re-engage our agriculture. And I'm planning to talk to the black farmers of California, and then talk to other farming groups to let them know that I want to propose legislation to bring back, to incentivize farming across the country in areas like that, so that they can be a part of the need in closing that gap, filling that gap that's going to occur.
We could use a U.S. senator that is for the farmers.
I traveled around. My grandparents lived in rural Maryland for a part of my childhood, and we would spend every summer there. And on Eastern Shore, Maryland, we would get up with my uncle, my grandfather's brother, and go pick cucumbers. And I learned how the cucumbers were turned into pickles. Yep. It was the most fascinating thing. They put them in the big barrels. So I think it's important. And my grandfather grew up in Suffolk, which is the peanut capital of the world. And so I know that these things that we get at the grocery store come from hard work, a lot of planning, and adjustments due to the environment, weather. And our farmers are very critical. They feed us. And so with the looming food shortage that we have, they're going to be a key part of that. So I want to be ahead of the game. And as soon as I get into the Senate, I want to start legislation to make it easier for them to be the vital part of that gap.
That's great to
that
hear,
they can
Dr.
be.
Hall. We're really out of time, but I just want to give a minute or two to you. If there's anything we missed, anything you want to get to our viewers, any message you want to deliver, tell us about your website and how people could get engaged.
Yes, certainly. This is a very tenuous time. I think more than anything else, with a lot of the uncertainty, we just need strong leadership with character and integrity that will be honest with the American people and be about the business of the American people. And that's what I want to bring back. If you want to, if you're interested in finding out more about me, you can go to my website and certainly donate at www.drhallforsenate.com. And we would definitely look forward to having your vote on June 7th.
Very good.
For the primary.
Dr. Myron Hall.
Yes.
And what a fascinating story you have. I really enjoyed researching this, learning about the Naval Academy, learning about Temple University, learning about your practice, your mom, the tough times you guys went through, and how you persevered and came to this a great man. So
thank you.
It's an
Thank
honor
you
to
for
have
having me,
on,
Mike.
on Newsmakers. We will be back with more Newsmakers right after this.